All right. So now that we're ready, here's what we're going to do. The first name I happened to see was Teresa. Teresa, how are you doing tonight? Let's see. Can I pop you up in the box? Teresa, are you there? Hey.
I
How are you
am
doing?
here. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
I
All
can.
right. So here's what we're going to do. Are you ready to jump into the first question with us?
Oh, well, let's try and
Okay, no
see.
problem. And no pressure at all. If you don't know something, that's okay, because that's why I'm here. And if I don't know it, we'll look it up. I'll just tell you I don't know it. We'll look it up. Chances are good that I should be okay though. All right, so we're going to take the very first question, and so let's just jump right into it and see kind of where we are. So hang on just a minute. Let me see if I can get us all on the screen at the same time. It looks like we're there. You've got my screen. If you guys will let me know, just say yes if you have my screen.
Yes, I do.
Okay, everybody's got the screen. So we're going to take this very first question. Now, you're actually one of our students in the cohort. So, depending on how far you've gotten through the 21-day game plan already, you may know this or you should know this already in terms of our 5-star medic method. However, we've got people tonight who are joining us. This is their very first time. They're joining from somewhere in the country or around the world. This is their very first time. So, some things I'll have to repeat just for the benefit of everybody. But we're going to take this very first question. So, you ready? Let's get started.
Let's go.
All right. So this question now, and by the way, let's just kind of recap something, just so that everybody's on the same page. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna add a sheet really quickly. Uh, Let me just add a page so that I can write. Now, let's just quickly go over this for everybody. I'll take it off. You stay where you are, Teresa. We're going to come back to you. You're going to
Okay.
take that first question. But let me just go to me for just a moment. For the benefit of everybody, I teach something called the 5-star medic method. Okay. So here's a star, and we have 5 points of the star. All right, let's move that down a little so you can see. By the way, I'm looking at multiple screens here. So if at any point you cannot see something that I'm doing on the camera, somebody just come off mute and let me know. All right, so here's the 5-star medic method. There are 5 points of the star, and so we've got points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The very first point of the star is there a safety concern? Okay, so when you're doing National Registry style questions, our very first question to ask is there a safety concern? Or what is the safest thing that I could do right now? That trumps everything else. It beats patient care. If there's a safety concern with the scene, or we need some kind of BSI equipment or something else, we need additional resources. That's actually the number one priority, no matter how bad off the patient is. Number one is there a safety concern? Step number two, we're going to ask, is this patient sick or not sick? And the reason that's important is if they're not sick, the answer is probably we don't do something. Like we don't need to do something if they're not sick. In that case, what do we do then? Well, we're probably just going to support them. Maybe we're going to contact a friend. We're going to maybe arrange for some other social services, but we're not actually going to treat them if they're not sick. The third point of the star is um, stable or not stable. So we definitely want to be able to recognize unstable very quickly. Instability is something that we need to recognize right away. Now, what clues you in that a patient is sick? Some of the first signs that you're going to recognize are increased heart rate with symptoms. And the reason I stress it that way, it's not just increased heart rate, it's increased heart rate with symptoms. Because if you get up right now and you run outside, your heart rate is going up, but you don't need an ambulance because you're not actually having symptoms. So you have an increased heart rate, but no symptoms. So one of the first signs that we recognize is increased heart rate with symptoms, also increased respiratory rate with symptoms. Now, when it comes to how do we recognize that a patient is unstable, we're looking for signs of shock. Okay, so that's going to be maybe they have pale, cool, clammy, or pale, cool, diaphoretic skin. So changes in their skin. We're looking for things like altered mental status. We may have hypotension as a later sign. So any of these that are going on with the patient says, this patient is unstable. Now, why do you care? Because if they're sick, that means that we do something as opposed to not doing anything. If they're unstable, not only do we do it now. And the other thing is we need to initiate rapid transport. So sometimes that's the answer. Like do something and initiate rapid transport. Point number 4 is do we fix them or do we just support them? Okay. So, for instance, if they're sick, that means we fix something. If they're not sick, then we're just going to support them. Now, all fixes, if you've been around me for 20 minutes, you've heard me say this. But for those of you who have not, all fixes in the whole human body, everything we do comes down to, hang on. All right, let's see here. Let me just change my screen so you can see a little better. Hang on just a moment. Don't go anywhere. All right, bear with me just a moment so I can scroll up. Okay, now, all fixes come down to we either fix an oxygenation problem, a ventilation problem, or a perfusion problem. I don't care what scenario it is. Last week in our live community, I actually did this thing where I went through about the top 50 calls that we have in EMS, and I broke down every type of call as an oxygenation problem, a ventilation problem, or a perfusion problem. See, most of you learned airway, breathing, circulation. That I find helps, it doesn't help you as much, and it actually causes you to miss more questions than you get correctly. All right. So all fixes talk back to me. All fixes come down to oxygenation, ventilation, or perfusion. Okay. Christopher, you asked, can I make my screen bigger? Once we go to the actual questions, I think you'll be able to see it. If not, let me know though. So all fixes come down to one of three things. We're either going to fix oxygenation, ventilation, or perfusion. And then finally, the fifth point of the star is there a time-sensitive, anything that's time-sensitive? That's going to be like major trauma, complicated childbirth, seizures, problems with the airway, a STEMI, a stroke, things like that. Those are time-sensitive. So let's recap that. The 5-star medic method, these are the 5 questions that we got to get everything down to. Is there a safety concern? If so, that's the answer. We got to fix the safety concern first. Then we figure out, is this patient sick? Some things we look out for are increased heart rate with symptoms, increased respiratory rate with symptoms. But if they're sick, we got to do something. Okay, now we got to figure out, are they stable or not stable? If they're unstable, not only do we do something, but we got to do it now, and we got to do rapid transport. Then we figure out, okay, well, what do we need to fix? Well, all fixes, it's either an oxygenation problem, a ventilation problem, or a perfusion problem. Sometimes it's 2 of the 3, sometimes it's all 3, but we've got to figure out, okay, what's the one thing that's going to kill this patient in the next minute if I don't do it? And then once I take care of that, what's the next thing that would kill this patient in minute number 2 if I don't do it? Okay. And then anything that's time sensitive, that means that we got to get them to an appropriate facility where somebody else with more training, more experience, more resources can take care of that situation better than us. Okay. Any questions so far? And type in the chat for me. I'll be monitoring the chat, but sometimes I can't. Sometimes it's going too fast and I can't see it all. So if you have a question, just let me know. But everybody good so far? Okay. Now we're going to use that. Now, the next thing I want you to know is how we take a test, okay?